guys, welcome back. Today we are going to review how to use Gemini API. As you might have known that Google is now rolled out Gemini. In that we have two models, Gemini Pro and Gemini Pro Vision. So Gemini Pro is a text-based model similar to what you might have used in OpenAI or Azure OpenAI service, which is just a text service. Gemini Pro Vision is the paid version for it. However, Gemini Pro is free to use. So you can either, I will point this link to you, you can either go here and just do run in Colab and read through the stuff. Or the second option is you could also do whatever I've done here, wherein I have refined some data from whatever's here and pointed you to some additional libraries to read through. So let's go over this first. So the agenda for this video is basically how to set up your environment and get API access to Gemini. And the next part is generate the text response. So the first thing here is you can do it in Colab, or if you don't like Colab, you want to do it yourself, you can read through this, wherein you need Python 3.9 and you need a Jupyter notebook, or if you are using any other Python environment apart from Google Colab, you can try that out. So that's the second part. I will be doing this in Colab. So the first thing is we have to install the library, which is Google Generative AI. So Google has created a Python library for generative AI called Google Generative AI. We can use this for various features which are available in Gemini Pro and Gemini Pro Vision. And all you have to do is pip install -QU Google Generative AI. If you are doing it outside of Colab, you just have to do pip install Google Generative AI and you should have this library installed for you. So the first step is let's do this. Right, and I have these are some Python libraries you might already know. So one is pathlib. Let me increase the font for you. So this is the pathlib. It is basically for representing file system with semantics appropriate for different operating systems. You can read more about this library. I have the link attached to you. Similarly, TextWrap provides some convenience functions as well as text wrapper. The class does all the work, and you also have an example here to know what TextWrap is. The third is what we just installed here. So import google.generative AI as Gen AI, and or you can just place it on this and you will get all the info on the syntax here too. So whichever works for you, you can look up that data. And the third one, basically these are just Jupyter Notebook or IPython specific ones. So basically whatever Gemini returns back to us, the function of to markdown is we are going to replace dot with star, and we are passing the data to TextWrap indent to get this, refine this. So this is specific to Gemini. If you are using any other large language model, you don't have to do it. For this example, in this example Google has given, so they have done it. If you don't like it, you can try printing it without this and you might see the indentation that is not ordered for you. So that's basically what I wanted to cover. So next but not the least, now we have to register our application and get the API key. So let me click on this. Okay, so this will take you here. So you should have this account. If so all you now have to do is create a project. In this project, Google has a list of some data here. You can pick whatever you want. It could be your first project, anything. I have already done this. And once you have it, you get some API key. Copy that API key and come back here. So you need OS, and you might know how we do set environment variables, right? So os.environ.api key equal to this. By the time you might look at this video, this API key might no longer be valid. I'll remove this key as soon as our video demo is over. And after this, let's run this. So we have this ready. And this next part is we have to do os.environ, os.getenv of this. And the next part I wanted to, before I do that, let me go here. So let's go to this link. I will show you something here. So if in this link, So if you go down here, there is something called configure. So in this, we are just initializing our API key before we actually do other functions of it. So the two things you can do with this is configure and get model. So get model will list the type of model, and we are going to go back and look at it. So that's basically what I wanted to cover here. And after I've done the API key, okay, it's now printing our API key, and we initialized our API key to gemini.configure. And now what we have to do is we will call the gemini.listModels functions. As you can see, there is something called list model here. So we will use that, which will give us the info about the two models we can use. So one is the Gemini Pro and the next one is the Gemini Pro Vision. So Gemini Pro Vision is not a free model. You need to set up some information. So let's go over that later on. For this purpose, we'll just go over Gemini Pro, which is free. So in the link that I have in this notebook, anyone can sign up and do up to 60 queries per any given hour, free of cost. You won't be charged money for it, for the text only model. So coming back to the next one, there are some rate limits for Gemini and Gemini models, and let's look at that here. So they have listed some data here on how much APIs you can do and all that. So like I mentioned, it was 60 last time I looked at it. I actually don't know what's the new limit here. So yeah, they have all the data here, what you can use, what you should not be using, how to get an API key and all. So you can go over and read through that. So as far as I mentioned, it's 60. So after I've done, then just print the model. So this will so I have initialized that model to Gemini Pro. Then let's run this. So here we are getting the Gemini Pro, and we are getting the safety generations config and some other parameters. So the generated method generate content can handle a variety of use cases, including multi-turn chant, multimodal input, depending on what the underlying model supports. So the model only supports text and images as input and text as output. In the simple case, you can pass this using this. So, okay. So the time. So if you do time, it will print the wall clock time for the entire cell, whereas time will only give you for the first line. In both the cases, we will get the CPU time and the wall clock time back. I have attached this method here. You can read through if you want to know more about % time. And here in response, we are doing model.generate content and what is the meaning of life. So if you don't like it, you can basically ask how is 2024 expected to perform on economy, right? You can ask whatever you want, whatever questions you want. And then let's look at that later on, how we can do that. So I have started this. So wait for a couple of minutes. We will get the response and we will also get a confirmation if our query succeeded or not. Okay, so it took 11.8 seconds and 151 milliseconds was the CPU time. So now we will see the two things. So let me just show you the next part. Let's just do response.text to see if we don't use markdown, what will we get? So you just got a normal text with star and all of it, for which we are replacing star with dot, if you remember in the markdown. So that's what I have done it here. So we got some data here. And the next interesting part I want to see is, for some reason, if you don't get a response back and you want to debug why your prompt was not given a response back by the API, you can do that. So here, safety ratings, and in the category, it is sexually explicit, hate speech, harassment, or dangerous content. So these are some of the data and the probability it's being given. And I'll show you an example later on where for one of this criteria, when it is not met, you would get an error. And when you do the response.prompt feedback, you will know why that error occurred. So that's what we'll be covering later on. And if you Gemini will also generate multiple responses for any given prompt. So the possible responses are called candidates, and you can review them to select the most suitable one for you. and all you have to do is response.candidates, and this will give you all the data. And that's basically what I wanted to cover here. And similarly, tell me about the future of world economy is what I will be doing here. And we will also use chunk text. So chunk text in the sense where we will similarly print the raw output. And if you don't use stream, it will take relatively longer to get the data. With stream, it will store all the response in place and you can view that here. So that's basically what I wanted to cover here. And similarly, you can see the magic of response.text, where this output is formatted for you in a better readable format, especially if you're displaying it in some web application like Flask or Streamlit back to the user. And the next part is you can also see the prompt feedback, which I like a lot about this specific one. And the next one I want to show you is something that comes under harassment, and let's see what it will do. So how to insult someone, or similarly you can ask some question on sexual explicit category on a specific celebrity or anything. I won't be covering that, but you can do that. Similarly, when you do this, you will get a medium here. That's why the response was not generated for us. That's why you got an error. And after this, for Gemini Pro, you can use it for summarization, create a shorter version of a document that incorporates pertinent information from the original text. So you might want to summarize a chapter in a textbook, or you want to do some product description from a long paragraph into something that suits your Amazon or eBay description. Similarly, FAQs, if you want to automate it for question a Q&A, you can use it. Classification, assign a label to a provided text. And the next one is sentiment analysis. So for a given text, if you want to do sentiment analysis, you can do that too. Entity extraction can be done. Content generation can be done. Code generation can be done. And multi-intern chats can be done. So we are going to cover this in the next video. This was just an intro video to what is Gemini Pro and how to get started with it. And as soon as you are done with it, if you don't like somebody accessing your key, just make sure to remove it. Like I've done, and here all you have to do is in this replace this with API key. That's what I will do here. Enter your API key. So just make sure when you enter your API key. So what I will do is I will provide you the GitHub link to this repo. So just make sure that you will update your API key in here and try it out. So this would work for you. So that's all I wanted to cover. I hope this was a good intro on how to use Gemini Pro. Just make sure to follow this for the next video, wherein we are going to go over more use cases, what you can do with Gemini Pro, and eventually Gemini Pro Vision in the follow-up videos. Thank you for joining.